From Britain's disillusioned working class to America's spiraling deficit, democratic politics are under strain on both sides of the Atlantic. Labour in the United Kingdom is facing open revolt from within as John McDonnell and trade unions accuse Prime Minister Keir Starmer of abandoning the party's soul. Meanwhile, in Washington, Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill is exposing cracks among Republicans themselves, with Elon Musk turning from loyalist to critique. Two governments, two crises, but one question: when do policy choices become existential threats to political identity? I'm Rana Al-Qassas. Let's get into In Focus. Starmer and Co are trashing Labour's legacy. We must take back control of our party before it's too late. In a scathing opinion editorial for The Guardian, veteran Labour MP John McDonnell accused Keir Starmer's government of betraying the party's working class roots and embarrassing atrocity in all but name. From redefining and from defending the controversial two-child benefit cap to slashing disability payments and winter fuel allowances, Labour policies have sparked protests from unions and grassroots members alike. Critics say the government's actions are indistinguishable from past Conservative regimes and have even opened the door for Niagara Farag's Reform UK. Meanwhile, left-wing MPs are being punished for dissent, and the leadership inner circle is facing backlash over strategic missteps. At stake is not just the government's credibility, but the future identity of the Labour Party itself. Joining us is now Meher Nicholas Ferzilli, Director of the European Agent Centre for Strategic Studies. Welcome to In Focus, sir, and it's always a pleasure to have you with us. Let's begin with the Labour Party's identity crisis. John McDonnell claims Labour under Starmer is unrecognisable and betraying its founding mission. How seriously should we take this warning from a former shadow chancellor, or no less?
Delighted to join you today. I think that the short term, short answer.
Yes, sir, please. We wanted a shorter and shorter answer.
Yeah. So the short answer, which is also the short-term answer, is not very seriously. So I think there's a lot of exaggeration in that open editorial published by The Guardian. However, he has a point. He has a point. In the medium long term, it is a problem. Why is it a problem? They say in British English, it's the ransom of glory. So when you win an election...
what, sir? A landslide of glory?
Exactly. The ransom of glory. So in the Middle Ages...
Ransom of glory.
If they captured a baron or an earl, they would ask for a ransom. So when you're too successful, it's called the ransom of glory, and sometimes it's not great. So what I mean by that is a year ago or 10 months ago, when Labour won with a landslide, they captured more than 400 seats, which represents 65% of the parliament. And so they've been ruling Britain for the past 9-10 months with a huge majority. And it's almost too much, because typically, as soon as you start having social, economic problems, the real fight becomes internal, because the opposition, in that case, the traditional opposition is the Conservative Party, is so weakened, so diminished, that it's within your own party that you start having clamors and noise and people, asking for something, saying that they're not happy. And something else happened precisely 3.5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago precisely, there were by-elections. By-election. There was only one parliamentary seat which was open for re-election or by-election 4 weeks ago, but there were like a dozen.
What's by-election, sir?
So when a
What's
member,
by-election?
yeah, so when a member of parliament dies before the end of his mandate or when he resigns, you have to do parliamentary elections just for one seat. So this is what happened 4 weeks ago. There was a by-election for just one parliamentary seat, but also a dozen at the same time, a dozen middle-sized municipalities and a few hundred sort of municipal councillor seats. And 1 month ago, when they had that by-election in a sample of interesting constituencies, the small right-wing populist party called Reform UK got a very high percentage of the vote. And even though it's only one seat, you could say, one seat out of 640, who cares? Symbolically, since then, so for the past 4 weeks, there's been a lot of soul searching within the majority Labour government, within the Labour Party and the left wing of the Labour Party, which was kind of sleeping for the past 10 months. All of a sudden, they woke up and they started saying, oh my God, there are many, and now they're clamoring and they're accusing Keir Starmer of being a Blairite, etc., etc. So in a way, that's why I was saying in the short term, it will not have any major consequence. It could grow later. So if the economic situation, if the social situation in Britain in the coming quarter gets really bad, this is when these clamors from the left of the party will become more dangerous.
Okay, sir, as we talk now on the ground, do you see it getting bad or do you think getting better? Or as you mentioned, the ransom of glory is taking place now, or is there exaggeration from your own narrative, or what's your point, sir?
I think the economic situation in the UK is kind of okay. So it's not brilliant. And because it's not brilliant, this is why, Rachel Reeves, the all-powerful Chancellor of the Exchequer, the Minister of Finance, she is cutting down on some social benefits, which are typically benefits for the elderly or the poor, etc. And these people, they vote massively for Labour, and so that's why there's a problem. But so far, the economic ship of Britain, which is a very heavy ship with many issues, so far, the Labour government in the past 9-10 months is doing kind of okay. And the IMF, and that is very interesting, the IMF released yesterday and 2 days ago a series of sort of quarterly reports on the health of the European economy, and they had detailed reports for each and every major European economy. And actually, that IMF report on the UK was fairly positive. So in the short term, they have oxygen, and they can say, because in economics, everything is relative, the Brits, they can say, maybe the situation here in the UK is not amazing, but we're doing better than the Germans and the French. And
okay, sir, Labour's shift toward austerity-like measures has angered trade unions and led to protests. What risks does this pose for Starmer's governing coalition, considering you're saying there is a kind of exaggeration in the narrative, sir?
Well, here, that's the beauty of having so many seats in Parliament. It's not really a coalition. So basically, it's his own party. So all the MPs who are also ministers, members of his cabinet, his government, they're all from the Labour Party, and most of them are from his wing of the Labour Party. To make a long story short, you could call it the Blairite right wing. And so very much now that Blairite right wing of the Labour Party is in control, and the left wing, the Labour people, all these guys, the traditional socialist, pro-Palestinian,
which side is stronger, sir, and which do you think is taking over the other now? At this, I know they're the same party, but who do you think is stronger now?
clearly the right wing is stronger, and in the short term, they are secure. So the right wing, the Blairite people, led by Keir Starmer, in the short term, their stranglehold on the party is very solid. And what we hear from the left, from the trade unions so far, is not loud enough to create internal, the dissent, that internal dissent within the Labour Party is not strong enough. If we look at, the top six big dogs in the government today, there's Keir Starmer himself, the Prime Minister. He's a Blairite. There is Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, the Finance Minister. She's a Blairite. Ed Miliband, the Minister for Energy, he's also kind of a Blairite. David Lammy, Foreign Secretary, pro-NATO, right-wing Blairite.
Blairite.
The only important influential minister, only 1 out of 6, who's not a Blairite, is Angela Rayner. She's the only one kind of representing the left of the party, and she's 1 out of 6. So what does it tell you? 80% of the big influential ministers are right-wing Labour Blairites, and only 20%, one lady, Angela Rayner, she represents the left of the party and the unions, so there's no real equilibrium. So that government is really a government by and for the right wing of the Labour Party, but so far they are secure in their power.
Okay, will they continue to be secured, sir?
So they will all depend on the economic and social circumstances.
Got you, sir. Sir, Nigel Farage is now positioning Reform UK as the working class alternative. Could Labour's internal drift really create an opening for a populist surge, sir?
So that is the $1 million, or in that case, £1 million question, because clearly, the Conservative leadership in the past 5 or 10 or 15 years, whichever way you measure the performance of leading MPs and prime ministers, the Conservative leaders of the past 15 years have been very lousy. So the performance of the main centre-right party in Britain has been at best mediocre. But
do you mean before Keir Starmer, sir?
Yeah, the Conservative, the rival, so basically Keir Starmer is a Labour MP, and his rivals are from the Conservative Party, and that party has been led, mostly by incompetent politicians in the past 10, 15 years. So that's the main thing which creates a window. So that's how Reform emerged. Reform Party emerged by stealing voters from the center-right Conservative Party, and by telling, disaffected center-right Conservative Party voters, look, you have been betrayed by the Conservatives, come to Reform. And so,
okay, sir, if the Labour Party suspended left MPs who voted against party lines, is the crackdown on internal dissent a symptom of centralised control or necessary discipline from your own perspective and narrative, sir?
So far, the MPs from the far left, from the far left of the party who have been suspended, they represent a microscopic minority, right? There are many left MPs, like there's a big block of left-wing MPs who are now silent, or they speak softly, but they haven't started a rebellion against Keir Starmer.
Do you think a rebellion is going to start, sir?
No, unless
after the honeymoon is over.
So unless if in 6-7 months the economic situation really deteriorates, this is the only hope internally from inside the ruling Labour Party. It's the only hope for the left wing of the party to make a coup, an internal coup against the Blairites. But so far, it seems very unlikely, and then the Blairites have a stranglehold on power. They really control the machine.
Do you like the Blairites, sir?
Sorry?
Do you like the Blairites?
Yeah, I don't have, so personally, I'm quite critical of the Blairites' foreign policy.
So you're critical of them. Thank you very much, Mr. Ferzili, for being with us in this segment. Stay with us. Of course, after the break, we turn from Labour's internal storm to Washington's fiscal firestorm. As Labour wrestles with its legacy, America is staring down a different kind of identity crisis. this time over spending, loyalty, and a billionaire's defiance of Trump's economic vision. Stay with us, sir.
Donald Trump is his name, and he's there to stay.
As unlikely, impossible, is now reality.
America powerful. We will win, win, win. And we will make America great again. We will very quickly make America great again.
Musk disappointed with major Trump policy bill, saying it will increase deficit. Elon Musk has publicly broken with Donald Trump over the One Big Beautiful Bill, a sweeping legislative package combining tax cuts for the wealthy with massive increases in military and immigration enforcement spending. Despite leading the Department of Government Efficiency dodge, Musk now says the bill undermines his deficit reduction efforts and betrays promises of fiscal restraint. With over $3.8 trillion in new debt projected over the next decades, even some Republican senators are balking. Meanwhile, clean energy subsidies critical to Musk's Tesla empire are set to be slashed. As the Senate gears up for a showdown, the Musk-Trump rift could reshape the narrative around Republican economics in the lead-up to the election. Mr. Frizilli, you're back again. Let's dive into the economic rift now, fracturing the Republican front. And I like, this, you like discussing this topic so much, sir. Elon Musk says the GOP bill increases the deficit and undermines Dodge. How damaging is it from your own point of view, sir, when your own efficiency chief publicly breaks ranks?
So I think here it's quite delicate, but to
Why
make a
is it delicate, sir? Why is it not annoying?
Yeah, so because there are two things. To make a very complicated story short, Trump has two constituencies. One of them are the rich country club Reagan millionaires and billionaires. So you could call it, the 1981 Republican Party, right? And there's another wing of the Trump base, which you could call the Bull Moose Republican Party. And that's a reference to the first President Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt. And he was the leader of a small branch of the Republican Party called Bull Moose. And he was a very nationalist, populist leader. And in 1912, he came up with the Bull Moose plank, which is basically based on protectionism, economic nationalism, and the defense of the middle class and the lower middle class, as opposed to the Reagan Revolution of 1980-81, which was really a supply-side revolution based on the rich and the defense of the rich. So Trump's, in essence, he wants to be both Theodore Roosevelt, 1912.
Trump wants to be both, sir, you said?
He wants to be both at the same time. So he wants to be the leader.
He wants to be the rich and he wants to be the bull moose.
Bull moose, leader, protectionist, nationalist, but at the same time, capitalist, and tax breaks for the rich, tax breaks for the big companies. And this is what we saw in that legislation, which was disappointing for people like Elon Musk, because people like Elon Musk, they're more part of the Reagan Revolution. So they don't really care for the middle class and the bull moose. they care for big corporations, right?
For the rich.
And they believe in fiscal discipline. And so these Reagan capitalists who kind of believe in fiscal discipline, they found that in that spending bill, there was not enough cuts, right? Dodge is about cutting, right? And so the Dodge people, they wanted more cuts and less spending. And because Trump has many constituencies, in that bill, he tried to please everyone. And when you try to please everyone within your own party,
please no one.
You reach a middle of the road solution, and it's complicated. So it's exactly what's happening now. He has reached a middle of the road solution, and so the purists, the intellectual purists like Elon Musk, are calling it a betrayal. I think it's theater, and I think it will not last.
Okay, sir, Musk's line, big or beautiful, but not both, has gone viral. Is this just branding, or does it speak to deeper frustrations among fiscal conservatives, sir? Of course, concerning that Trump has long painted himself as a fiscal conservative. How do you read this, sir?
So in America, what's very interesting, in business, big business, politics, they use, and media, of course, they use narration systems, narrative, right?
Social
and
media,
so that,
sir.
To use a narrative, it's based on American culture. It's based on two things, to make a long story short. Madison Avenue, in New York, the mecca of modern advertising. How do you sell a product? How do you sell a politician? How do you sell a president? And there's another pillar, which is Protestant Christianity, American, German American Protestant Christianity uses a lot of narrations. And so Elon Musk is the perfect incarnation of that, because he is a German American, just like Trump himself.
Is he a German American Protestant, sir?
Yeah, just like Trump. Actually, Trump is also a German American, and a very influential guy who's really one of the main leaders of the Trump revolution. Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel, he is the mentor to J.D. Vance. He's one of the biggest donors to Trump. He's also German American, so they all have the same culture, and they all believe that to sell a product, you have to tell a story. So when you say big, beautiful, these are very simple, even simplistic terms, but they allow you to reach a big audience. So you sell a story, right? It's a big, beautiful product. It's a big, beautiful shampoo
but
or
Musk,
toothpaste.
sir, is saying otherwise now. He's saying the opposite.
Yes.
Big or beautiful, but not both.
Yes, because he's using it rhetorically as a wink, as a rhetorical ploy. He's using it to voice his discontent. I'm saying it will not last. I think it will last maybe a few days, but not more, because for people like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, they're called the tech brothers, right? The multi-billionaire German-American tech brothers who backed Trump, even if they may be disappointed by Trump for fiscal reasons, blah, 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 they will still support him. And the reason why Peter
Why,
Thiel...
sir, will they still support him?
Because they hate the Democrats. So their worldview is really in relative terms. So they are now unhappy. They're telling him, we are unhappy, we don't like that bill, blah, 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 blah. But after a few days or a few weeks of voicing their discontent, they will keep on supporting him, because first, he's one of them. So he's part of the same clan, or the same sort of ethnocultural, ideological...
Okay, sir, I got your point, but because I want to make the best out of this episode and, of course, your informative knowledge. Several Senate Republicans say they'll oppose the bill unless deficit concerns are addressed. Could we see the legislation collapse in the upper chamber?
Yes, here it may have to be. So it may have to be adjusted.
Adjusted, sir, or collapse?
So collapse, I don't think so, but adjusted, yes, because to reach the current...
So Donald Trump is going to adjust it before the collapse, sir?
So I don't think it will collapse. It's already, so the current text is already the result of several weeks of back and forth, compromise between congressmen, senators, left-wing Republicans, Republican centrists, etc. So already, you could say it's crystallized, it's 85, 90% crystallized, but maybe on the margin, there will be a few concessions before it's turned into law and signed by Trump. And so if there are a few adjustments, there would probably be around clipping and cutting more government spending. So this is the
Okay,
avenue.
sir, in 10 seconds, because I have to wrap up now. What do you think happened between Trump and Elon Musk? Of course, one of Trump's biggest fans and, of course, backers. What backlash suddenly happened?
I think it was a mini disaster waiting to happen. So because of the Elon Musk's style, he couldn't, it would have been unthinkable for him to last in Washington, D.C. more than a semester, more than 5 months, 6 months. So I think it's natural that now he leaves Washington, D.C. and returns to California or Germany or wherever. But what I mean, he has his impact. So even if he leaves Washington, D.C., he will keep on influencing the White House indirectly. But I think he no longer will have that huge power, which he yielded aggressively for the first 4 months of the Trump White House.
Thank you very much, Maher Nicholas Ferzeli. Always a pleasure to join us in our episodes, and thank you very much for valuable, informative knowledge and insights. Thank you very much, sir. From the fracturing of labor's moral mission to the fiscal firestorm shaking Washington, political identity is no longer a given, it's a battle. As leaders adjust, retweet, or defy expectations, the public is left to decide who still speaks for them. Until next time, stay informed, stay sharp, stay in focus.